I'm just a guy who loves Disney and has way too much time on his hands. If anybody from Disney is watching, please don't sue me. I'm here to rate, review, and describe all of your favorite things from the magical world of Disney. I'm File91e and welcome to my Disney news and reviews. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Disney news and reviews. I'm File91e. And a pretty even week for me this week, guys. Nothing too bad. Feeling a lot better. You know, it's good to get all this crap out of my system. Cleaned up everything. Everything's just kind of better. You know, went out and got some new ocean scented candles. They're really good from Yankee Candle. Now it smells like the beach, which is nice. Really like that. I hope to get down there sometime this year, maybe in June or something. I don't know. The Where in the Land last week was Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage, kind of fitting for you know what I reviewed, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Urge you guys go check that out, and yeah, you get a nice shot of the monorail as it goes by, so that's quite excellent. We're going to be continuing with Movie May this week. It's just kind of how it is, or that's the way, you know, it's what I've been doing. So I know some people like it, some people don't, but you know, it is what it is. Next week, going to be reviewing Tomorrowland, which is one movie that I'm really looking forward to. Oh man, I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. So that should be great. But yeah, I think that's it. That's what's been going on with me this week. Let's get right to the news. The Star Wars weekends have officially opened and all of the festivities are in full swing. From special shopping and dining experiences to celebrity meet and greets and fireworks shows. This year looks to be better than ever. I have a friend, John, from the West Coast. He's going to be headed there, I think, next weekend. And he's excited and I'm very excited for him. So make sure you shoot me some pics there, bud. And have a great time. Can't wait to hear your, you know, your tale of how it is. It sounds really, really great. Disney is looking to be moving ahead with plans to add a waterside Disney Vacation Club set of villas to the Wilderness Lodge Resort. Permits and plans have been filed showing a series of one-story lodging buildings to the east and west of the lodge, fronting onto Bay Lakes. That'd be nice waterside stuff. It'd be great. Also included with the project are new restaurants and recreation buildings with new pools and upgrades to existing pools. The 26 waterside villas appear very similar to the recently opened Bora Bora bungalows at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Although the Wilderness Lodge units are not built onto the water, it's just low overlooking the water. Now, Disney has not yet made any announcement about this project. They just filed plans and people got word of it. So I'm sure they'll announce it soon. Very cool stuff. Now, this is my favorite news for this week. Disney has officially announced that Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar will be opening in the fall of 2015 at the Landing in Disney Springs. The Disney-owned and operated bar will be located just between Paradiso 37 and the Boathouse in what was formerly the Pleasure Island area of downtown Disney. The aviation-themed bar and lounge will have seating for 150, including both indoor and outdoor space. The food and drink menus will feature such offerings as the Jovito Mojito cocktail. It's a special cocktail there. Air Pirates Everything Pretzels, which are basically pretzels and house mustard and homemade fondue and all that stuff. And Rolling Boulder Meatballs. So, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Rolling Boulder Meatballs. Come on. That's just awesome. Now, for those of you who are wondering who Jock Lindsay is, fans of Indiana Jones movies will recognize him as Indy's pilot from the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember the guy with his pet snake, Reggie? Jock is also the owner of a pet snake named Reggie, which just happens to be the name of the steamboat that is in the dry dock at the side of the bar, so that really is cool. I really can't wait to go down there and check this out. I really hope they wind up having a snake down there, but then again, maybe snakes weird people out and they don't want to have it. But the fact that they, you know, named the boat outside Reggie is a nod to that, and the fact that there's an Indiana Jones themed bar is kind of a tropical sort of thing. It's just awesome. As soon as I found that out, I was so happy. Very, very cool stuff. Awesome way to go, Disney. And finally, some Disneyland news. Well, it finally happened. The infamous Hatbox Ghost has returned to his rightful place inside Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. Now, the story behind how this kind of came about is really interesting. The Imagineers originally wanted this Hatbox Ghost. It's up in the attic right there, right, by the haunted bride or whatever. And he was originally supposed to have his head disappear and then pop up in the hat box. He was holding a hat box like that. It never officially debuted because, when they were, about to introduce the Haunted Mansion, they had the, they had it running, and it was the, I believe the employee, opening, the employee soft opening just to see how it was. And they said that, well, it didn't really work because they didn't have the technology back then. It was all smoke and mirrors, and you could just blatantly tell that it was, uberly fake. But luckily, Disney now has the technology, and they brought it back after years of, thinking that he was used as the as Sam Eagle in the Muppet ride, all of his stuff. They completely rebuilt the animatronic and put him in, and now, as you can see, he is haunting the Haunted Mansion, and he's back and ready to go for Disneyland's 60th anniversary. So I'm really excited that he's back. He is a bit of Disney history, and it's cool that they have him back. And he's just sitting there haunting people, and they could finally complete the Haunted Mansion with the Hatbox Ghost. He wasn't just left high and dry, because for a while there he had kind of gotten forgotten about. He was forgotten about, and then the stories rolled in about the old Hatbox Ghost, where he came, where he went. Then eventually they brought him back, because of fan want and things like that. So that's really cool. So good job, Disney. But yeah, that's the news for this week. Let's get right to the reviews. Okay, now we're going to be continuing with Movie Month. The theme, I guess, for this week is associated acts, I guess you could say. Associated companies. I'm going to be reviewing a Pixar movie and a Studio Ghibli movie. Both are, associated with Disney, obviously. Disney, has a big contract with them. And both have released some fantastic titles, and the fact that Disney has all that is just excellent. Has a good relationship with them. Obviously, I think Disney owns Pixar now, but they they distribute the movies. That's that whole thing. But whatever. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is a Studio Ghibli movie. It is Ponyo. Now this movie actually was one of the first Studio Ghibli movies that I had seen. I had seen Spirited Away. I didn't really understand what it was. I had seen it a long time ago. But Ponyo was the first one. I got this on Blu-ray, and I watched it, and I was completely transfixed by it. I really saw the charm in it, and I went back and watched the different Studio Ghibli movies, and now I'm a huge fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Japanese anime. That's just, everybody knows that knows me. But these type of anime, the Miyazaki films, are just fantastic. This was released in 2008 by Studio Ghibli and was, directed and made and conceived by Hayao Miyazaki. And Miyazaki, he is just fantastic at what he does. He has this art style that is just great, and these stories are just so fantastic. They're just like, whoa, what the heck am I watching? But you're left knowing that you actually saw something. Now, Ponyo actually is all hand drawn. I was reading about it. This was one of those movies that he wanted to go back to an old school way of doing things, and he did. He pretty much hand drew everything. He wanted to really get the relationship of the water to the town, so he made sure he could do that. That's why the water looks so interesting. And this is not just water; it's water as a living thing. So it's pretty interesting, how they pull that off. And this is actually also loosely based on The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen, very, very loosely in the sense that a princess of the water is transfixed by a human person on land. That's pretty much where it ends. I guess this will be a good time to mention the plot. the plot of Ponyo is interesting because it doesn't really take off like, you know, most movies do. You're just kind of there. It's like what happens over a few days at this certain place. This was a place that Miyazaki had been to and was very inspired by. And what you do is you follow this character, Ponyo, this little fish thing, and her father, or her maker father thing, is this guy who you know, makes sure that the ocean stays in the ocean, and you know, and everything is clean and things like that. And her mother is this this like goddess of the ocean, as far as I can can tell. I don't know, you know, for sure. That's just how I took it. And well, she wants to, you know, experience life out there. She constantly looks for adventure. So she finds adventure, and she goes from this little fish thingy to an actual human, because she has these magical powers, and whenever she uses magic, she expends a lot of energy, so she falls asleep and that sort of thing. So the little boy is transfixed by the water. He loves to go out into the water. His dad's a sailor or whatever, and somehow they meet, and he catches the, you know, Ponyo, who's still a little fish at this time. And it's nothing he'd ever seen before, so he keeps her in water and stuff like that. And as stuff happens, because she is using her magic, she is starting to throw the natural order of things out of alignment. The moon gets bigger, and that's throwing, you know, it's causing all kinds of massive storms and things like that. So a hurricane happens. It's really hard to describe, you know, the basic story of this. You know, there's a scene with people in an old folks' home. The storm happens, which just everything looks fantastic. I mean, every frame in this movie could be a work of art. And basically, the two are left alone, and they have, you know, and the boy is trying to find his parents, or at least his mom. So he has a little boat, which he magically turns into a bigger boat, and apparently all these old fish that were long extinct are now back in, you know, in the world. It's just weird how they, you know, bring all this stuff about. And eventually, you know, he finds his parents, and her you know, very godlike parents find her, and he promises to take care of her, she promises to take care of him, and they become kind of like almost, you know, arranged marriage sort of thing. And she becomes an actual human, and you know, he becomes her friend and stuff like that. So it's a very charming movie. The thing that gets me about, you know, that really I appreciate is the fact that it's not very plot driven. It's just like, this is what it is, this is how it is, and it's shot and drawn in a very amazing way. Like I said, each frame in this movie could be a work of art. If you just took it out, blew it up, and you could put it on your wall and it would look really great. I loved the scenes with all the old fish. I loved you know, like the scenes with because the moon's getting bigger, the gravitation of the earth kind of shifts a little bit. It just looks beautiful. It's like I said, he pretty much hand drew this over a period of time. This was like a big project for him, and it was just a fantastic, you know, job, fantastic thing to watch, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that is pretty much Ponyo, and my opinion of it. So what am I going to give Studio Ghibli's Ponyo? I'm giving this 5 big stars. It's a great movie. I urge you guys to check it out. Probably my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. I mean, or at least on top with Spirited Away. I love Spirited Away. Just a fantastic movie. But Ponyo was the one that really got me into it. So I have a personal, you know, attachment to it. So I love Ponyo. This was a great movie, and I urge you guys to check it out if you haven't, and check out the other Studio Ghibli movies. Just great stuff there. And the animation is top notch with that style, just like Disney has its own animation, which is top notch with that style. It's just fantastic, great stuff. So yeah, Ponyo, 5 stars. Check it out.
And now, a random Disney fact with File91e.
Walt Disney and Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, both trained at the same place before shipping out to France during World War I. And that was a random Disney fact with File91e. Alright guys, the next thing I want to review for you today is Up. It was actually requested of me, and I thought it was a good time to talk about it because I don't think I reviewed this. I really don't think that I did, but if I did, and I'm going to review, I'm going to talk about it again. I don't even care. Up, very, very, very good film. This came out in 2009 and it was made by Pixar, totally made by Pixar and distributed by Walt Disney. And this was one of the movies that really pulled a lot of heartstrings on people. It was directed by Pete Docter, who also did Monsters, Inc. So obviously he knows what he was doing there, but I think this is his masterpiece. He did a fantastic job with this. The making of this movie was, pretty interesting. He wanted to do something that kind of showed, the release of people from the, regular world, and obviously, him going up, with the balloons and everything is a release from the, strains of this world. But he needed a plot and a reason and all that stuff. And what's cool is Pete Docter actually talked to Frank Johnson, or Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, before they died, and a couple of the other ones, before they passed away that year. They gave him some big tips. One of the big tips was, you need some form of an emotional bedrock in order to balance out all the different wackiness in the movie. Like there needed to be something that held people down while all this wacky stuff was going on, because you just needed that balance. So knowing that, he introduced the whole thing with Mr. Fredricksen and his wife. Like the first 5 minutes of the movie, I think this is the most emotional 5 minutes of a movie that anybody could really withstand. I mean, so much happens in 5 minutes, and you're left almost on the verge of tears, or just outright bawling. I saw people doing that in the theater, and man, it it is a tough movie. You're watching it and you're like, Jesus, this is tough stuff. Obviously, Mr. Fredricksen's wife, Carl Fredricksen's wife, dies. You see their relationship all the way through that 5 minutes. They meet his kids, and she has a sense of adventure, and he does too, but he's a little bit more reserved about it. She lets all that out in him, allows him to be a fun, loving guy. But unfortunately, she passes away, and he's kind of left, and he doesn't have much else in his life, and everything is building around him, and he doesn't, he has this house, this little house, and they're building these giant multiplexes around him, and they're trying to get him to move. All this stress building up, and he finally just wants to get away. So what does he do? As a job, he used to sell balloons at a park. That was his thing, and he attaches, I think, close to 20,000 balloons or whatever it is, and he takes his house up and away. The whole idea, the whole plot of the movie revolves around him wanting to go to this place where his wife and him had always planned to go, but they never did, and he wanted to kind of fly away and go to this place, and he figured this was the best way to do it. Now, along for the ride is Russell, who is a Boy Scout, and he kind of hitches a ride unknowingly to Carl Fredricksen, and their journey together, they learn a lot through the through each other. Carl Fredricksen learns to be a little bit more soft, and Russell just learns to kind of grow up a little bit, and you just kind of feel for him because he is a kid. There's also Doug, who is a dog, and it's really funny. He kind of provides the comedy relief, because he has this thing around his neck where you can hear what he's saying every time he barks. Or you can hear whatever he's thinking, and it's great, because it's like squirrel, that sort of thing. Very fun, it was cute. It was very cute. The other main character in the movie is played by Christopher Plummer, and he is a lost adventurer he's bent on finding this really, really exotic bird, and he's just, it's very elusive. We all, we're meant to think that it's a really, really vicious sort of thing, but it's not. The main characters wind up meeting it. Russell aptly names it Kevin, even though Kevin is actually a female, but hey, hey, whatever. And, they didn't know that at the time. And, we find out that this guy actually is pretty crazy about this, and, locks him up, and he has this whole mess, this army of dogs that can talk or whatever. And, a lot of stuff happens. There is that one emotional moment where they, finally get the house to, to the place. And it's basically Carl Fredricksen letting go. He lets go of all of his possessions, with his wife, because he realizes that he does have to move on. And he helps Russell take down the guy, and he actually abandons his house, and the house floats down to the falls, which is right where they want it to be. So it's kind of like she's there in the house right next to the falls. It's nice, it's cool. And although it would be interesting if like tourists just finally go there and they just see a house at this falls, like, what? How did the house get here? But anyway, a lot of stuff happens. A very big Zeppelin fight, which is pretty cool. And in the end, the bad guy gets his. Russell and Carl Fredricksen, they live happily ever after, because early in the movie we find out Russell lost his parents, so Carl becomes a kind of an impromptu father, type figure to him, parental type figure, and it's just really nice. We're left, going, okay, this is cool, and everything, is honky-dory. It's just a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I think everybody's seen it at this point. If you haven't seen it, I urge you guys to check it out. The animation is fantastic. This was one of the first movies in Disney Digital 3D. All of the exotic locations are kind of based around this area in Venezuela. These mountains that are just crazy looking. They spent like 3 weeks down there just sketching and doing all that stuff, to try to get this authentic feel. They're also, I think it's called the Angel Falls or whatever it is, because that's that really long waterfall, the world's tallest waterfall, where the water just essentially descends into water vapor at that point, as it hits the bottom. So it's kind of based on that. So they took a lot of sketches and did a lot of that, to make it look great and authentic, and I believe they did a very, very good job. And Pixar, with every movie, they try to elevate their game, so like the fabrics and stuff in here are, have a really good texture, so that's something they can use for other movies. Every movie is, they try to strive for greater and greater realism while still maintaining a kind of cartoony look. So it's really cool stuff there. Now, I did find this little piece of trivia here. There are 10,927 balloons for shots of the house just flying, and like as it's flying along. But in total, as the house is lifting up, there are 20,622 balloons, and various number for other sequences, like when the balloons pop and all that stuff. So as the balloons are going up, you see 20,000 balloons, and it's very interesting how they made that, and how they they animated all that. They had to animate every individual balloon, so the amount of computing and rendering time for that must have been insane. So just one technological feat after another for Pixar. Excellent stuff. The music was composed by Michael Giacchino, and he won actually a Best Original Score for that, an Oscar for that. It's fantastic. Without that music in there, the emotional scenes really wouldn't be as emotional. He adds these little musical triggers throughout the scene, so you get that, like, oh my God, this is a very emotional time. I really should pay attention to this. Like, you get that subconscious sort of thing, and the score is amazing. And if you haven't watched it, watch the movie, but also pay attention to the music, and it's really fantastic. So Really good stuff. This also won for Best Animated Feature for the year, and it was also actually nominated for Best Picture. Now, a lot of people might say, well, it was only nominated because there was 10 nominees that year. But still being nominated for Best Picture, you know, of the year amongst all those other ones, you know, is a great honor. And the only other animated movie to do that was a Disney movie called Beauty and the Beast. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that one. Have you guys heard of Beauty and the Beast? Probably not, but check that movie out if you haven't. But yeah, Up. It was a fantastic movie. Is a fantastic movie, and I urge you guys to check it out. My copy is a little shredded because I lent it to a friend of mine who has a child, and his child will constantly watch it back and forth, up and down, and it's just shredded. But it's a good one. It's, you know, it still works. It's a great one, and I love you, Aiden. Love you, Aiden. And but Up is, you know, is a great movie, and I urge you guys to check it out. So what am I going to give Up? Okay, another one, 5 big stars. You know, just one of 2 great movies this week. Up especially just is fantastic. Again, it has the most heart-wrenching opening 5 minutes of any movie I've ever watched. I mean, there's so many emotions going through, and the follow-up movie, you know, or all the stuff that happens after that, you know, it's perfect. You know, they really, you know, they hit the nail on the head with this, and you know, just, it was fantastic. You know, it's really hard to follow a movie like that, but Pixar is great at doing what they do, and this really set some high standards, let me tell you, because they just, I know this was a labor of love for Pete Docter, and just, you know, just sheer greatness there. So Up from Pixar, distributed by Disney, 5 big stars. Check it out if you haven't already seen it. I think everybody's seen Up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's Disney news and reviews. I will put out some bonus videos of some DVD unboxings this week, as well as this show, so keep an eye out for them. I don't like to flood you guys with, you know, bonus videos. I don't want to ruin your YouTube feed or whatever it is. But yeah, so if anybody from Disney is watching, please don't sue me. I want people to go to Disney World or Disneyland and check out these 2 movies. Get your movies on DVD and whatnot, Blu-ray. You know, I love your Blu-rays. You guys know how to do Blu-rays well with all the bonus features and things like that. Really, really great stuff. And if you are going to Disney World or Disneyland, be sure to go to allers.net, touringplans.com, www.magic.com for our latest and greatest Disney news. And micechat.com is great, and it's where I get all my Disneyland news now. So micechat.com is really good too. Check that out. As well as Disneyland or DisneyWorld.com. That's where you can get all your stuff, vacation packages and whatnot. I recently got my vacation, what is it? You know, planning DVD. I like to get them every year, see what's changed and whatnot. And I'm actually starting to think about my next journey down to Walt Disney World. Maybe it'll be a long weekend or something like that, where I don't actually have to film constantly. I love you guys, but I would like to go to Disney World one time and not have to film anything and just enjoy the park for what it is. So who knows? Maybe of course I'll film some things, but not have to constantly carry around the camera all the time would be just special. Just special. So yeah, that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys next week for another Disney news and reviews. And guys, where in the land am I this week? Bye guys.